I now call this meeting of the Kansas State University Student Senate to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, now we'll now be moving into first roll call.
Al Abdullah. Al Madani. Beasley. Belina. Betancourt. Booz. Burke. Carlson. Clements. Colburn. Cruz. Dowd. Garcia. Jillian King. Gillespie. Glasscock. Gertson. Grover. Hamlin. Hines. Howie. Huffman. Jabin. Kavanaugh. Kelly. Kerperin. Kidd. King. Koger. Coleman. Leverett. Lux. Matos. Meinhardt. Newport. Oshner. Orzakowski. Pelton. Bruce. Rice. Rivera. Reichert. Slider. Smith. Snyder Ben. Snyder Blaine. Spellman. Spencer. Stone Street. Wallace. Ward. Whitmer. Boykin. Peyton. Rodriguez. Phillips.
Okay, we'll now move into first open period. Our first open period speakers tonight are Barbara Braga and Matthew Kearns with Housing and Dining Services.
All right, so we will try and keep this short and sweet. We are here to talk to you about an opportunity this coming fall to help us with our move-in process of our incoming students who are going to be living on campus. It's a really great opportunity for you to get your name out there, as well as to provide a really great first experience for our students as they come onto this campus. I'm going to let my colleague here give all the details of that, but I wanted to inform you that we're going to have a sign-up sheet that we're going to pass around if this is something that you're interested in participating in. Clearly, we did not know how many of you were actually going to be in this room, so just feel free to use the back as well if we get there. And if you could turn that in to Nathan, who has agreed to compile that for us at the end, that'd be great. I'll turn it over to Barbara.
So the opportunity that we're talking about is actually called Welcome Cats. If any of you lived in the residence hall previously, this was also known as Move-In Crew. We've changed the names just a little bit. And we know most of you are very well connected around campus. And so what we're asking for is to help us spread the word. So when we collect emails, you all will be included in the email blast that we're going to be sending out throughout the summer for people to sign up to help us welcome our new students, right? It takes a village when students come in as we're trying to get everyone and settled into their spaces, but also making sure that they feel connected to the K-State family. And that's where you all can come in and help us out. So our move-in days for the residence halls will have unofficial opening, which is like when our early arrivals start, will be Sunday, August 18th. And then we'll have a couple other open days that we'll need help, and that's Friday, August 23rd and Saturday, August 24th. We will have a meeting explaining a little bit more about what this what this volunteer opportunity is and what we expect from you all, but mainly it's helping our students by welcoming them, helping grab their belongings from their vehicles and actually delivering it to the rooms. You will get a free t-shirt. I know, great incentive, but we really hope that you all consider this and help us spread the word, so we can actually make a first impression and highlight the K-State family and how everyone is here to welcome our new students that will be moving in the fall.
Are there any questions for our speaker? Senator Spellman.
Oh gosh. I would say close to 3,500 students will be moving into the residence halls in the fall, first year students. Yeah.
Almost all on that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions for our speaker? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming.
Great.
Our next open period speaker is Dominic Anzalone, the CEO of Rent College Pads.
There we go, we're on. I'm Dominic Anzalone, the CEO of Rent College Pads. Basically, I flew in from Milwaukee to show you a branded platform that we want to launch with student government to help students find off-campus housing, roommates, and subleases. So quick to give you a background on us, we have been around for 6 years. We have partnered with 106 different universities around the country. Based in Milwaukee, like I said, about 2 million students a year use us to find off-campus housing, roommates, and subleases. And the goal is to do this with Kansas State. So Kansas State has a huge off-campus population, and we think there's a lot of opportunity to better serve those students that are living off-campus. Currently, the process is tough. If you're looking for housing for the first time in your life and you've never signed a lease before, never looked for housing before, and we want to solve that issue for you. So to run through this quick. So Rent College Pads, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. We have launched in the Manhattan market under rentcollegepads.com. That is not what we are trying to do with student government. We want to launch out a branded platform that would be branded in the university brand. So it would be one and the same with the university website, which the entire purpose behind that is it would get more trust from the students that are using it, the parents and the faculty and staff. It would also allow us to police the market more, meaning we could drive students to the good property groups and kind of try to keep them away from the bad property groups. So this traffic number is the amount of students that have used us in the Kansas State market. So these are unique students in the last 12 months that have come to Rent College Pads to find an apartment, 12,500. So basically the goal would be to transfer all these student users to the branded platform. This is what the proposed page would look like. So basically, it would have the school colors. It would be branded with student government. The powerful part about that is that when every student comes into the platform, they would know that it's run by student government, and they can kind of see what student government's doing to help them. Also, again, it really garners the trust factor, which is what we're trying to gain with this. So when they come in, they know this is created for students. by students to facilitate a better rental process. This is what a listing looks like. So when they come in, they would click on a property, they could view the pictures, the street view, the walking times to campus. This is the walking time, so they could click it to any university building that is near campus. So they would look at the prospective property and they could see how long it would take to walk, how long it would take to bike, the bus routes, everything, so that they could map out their commute for every day. Filters. Actually, I'm just going to jump into the actual demo instead of doing this. 1 second. So here's what it would look like. So students would come in, they would basically change their bed count, the bath count. They would put in their rent range, and then it would populate the map with all of the available options off campus. And then they would search through these listings and they would pick one that they were interested in. Like this one, they would look at the images. If they were like a foreign exchange student and they didn't know the neighborhood, they could check it out with like Google Street View, for example. Here's the walking time thing I just showed you. So you can change it to bike times. That shows like all the bike routes around campus. The busing route, which there isn't one from this property to the university building, Haymaker Hall, the driving time, so you can see how long it would take to drive. You go down, you can see like reviews. So reviews are a big deal. So basically you have to use your student ID to create a review. Then you know that other K-State students are the ones that created these reviews. So every single property would be rated on these 5 questions. And then you would, I guess, know if this is a good property or a bad property. And then just some more amenities and details about the property. You could change the language. So if you don't speak English, you could change it to Albanian, for example, and you can see the entire site in a different language. So that's really helpful. Right now, if you're a foreign exchange student and you're studying abroad, a lot of times when they come to America, they don't trust the American sites, so they'll rely on other friends that they have in the market, and they'll end up living in one apartment building a lot of times because they're relying on the feedback from their friend that's in America. So we want to change that and create a trusted resource for them. So I'm going to send this all out to you guys so you can go through the entire thing. I guess just to give you the high level, you can save these to your favorites, so you can review your favorites list. You can share that with your friends when you're comparing properties. We'll have it so you have to log in to the roommate side, to the sublease side with your school ID, so it's all protected. So the whole site is built just for students, so you could trust it a lot. We think that if we launched it here at K-State, we think we could have over 10,000 students using the site to find an apartment a year. I think that's powerful for student government to do. I think there's a huge need in the market today. We know there's a lot of properties that are really bad off campus and a lot of property groups that don't fully support keeping their properties up to date and up to code. So we met with the city today, and a big goal that we would have with the city is to display the properties that are up to code with like a student government badge. And that badge would then give students the ability to know that that property passed code. Currently, if a property is not up to code, there's no process really for that. I think they said only 100 properties in the market that I've listed. The goal would be to make this site so powerful that every single property group in the market used it and every single student in the market used it, which would get more landlords to go through these inspections. So that's a super high level version of it. You guys should all have the video. It's like a little tutorial on all these features. I don't want to like run through it because I think that's kind of boring. But we think that working with student government, we can make this happen. I think that we really just need student government to be on board and to back it. We are kind of targeting the Big 12 right now as far as schools. So 3 weeks ago, we partnered with Texas Tech. We are close to partnering with a few other schools in the Big 12. Kansas State's obviously a top target within that. So I guess I'll open it up for questions then and see what you think. So I guess any questions?
Are there any questions for our speaker? Speaker Pro Tem Bothwell.
Can you kind of speak to like the legal implications of using the site? We've discussed like different alternatives for finding like safe and affordable housing, and I know a challenge that student government's faced in the past has been like since we're a state university, like there's like things regarding what we are allowed and not allowed to promote. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I've heard that at other markets that we've launched at before, and we kind of looked into some of those laws that are out there currently. So, we didn't find anything that would prevent us from doing that or launching into the market. I think, what we would be doing is just launching a platform to allow students to make a more educated decision on where they're going to live. And that's a powerful thing. So I think a lot of the rules that are out there are if the university were to get involved with private housing, for an example, and that's what that's protecting. So this is a lot different than that. This is just an unbiased marketplace where students would come to compare their options and they would get better prices, better location, all that stuff. Does that answer your question? Is that good? Okay, got it.
Are there any further questions for our speaker, Senator Javin?
That's a super good question. So basically, we make our revenue through the property groups. So when we did our first partnership with Marquette University in Milwaukee, they said they would never pay for the site. They said the students would, of course, never pay for the site. So we ended up finding a way to get the property groups to completely fund the model. So the university pays nothing for it. The student government pays nothing for it. There's actually a revenue share. So student government would get 10% of all revenue that's created from the platform. That 10% can go towards any cause that student government wants to put it towards. But property groups already have a budget line item for this. So meaning they advertise right now on Zillow, apartments.com, wherever else. And we kind of take over that budget in a lot of ways. On top of this, what I didn't mention is we also do like a housing fair. So we would be promoting housing fairs for the students as well. I know there's already one that's currently done. But we would take it over and try to get a lot more students to attend that housing fair.
Are there any further questions for our speaker, Senator Beasley?
Yes. Do you, properties or research people who rent out properties, do they go through any vetting process before being listed? I know that you mentioned
Yes, we're trying. Across the country, we've tried, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Basically, to do like inspections, the city has to be on board with that. So, for example, here in Manhattan, we could go and we could list the properties that have had that inspection, and that's what we would do. But the biggest way is reviews. So, student-run reviews is a super reliable system, and we get thousands of those. So it's really easy to do. And that's the best way to point students in the right direction. But beyond that, we also have a 3-strike policy. So if a property group violates our policies 3 times, we kick them off of the site. So it's really about protecting the students. Everything we do is about making sure that students are not being directed to the bad property groups and they're getting directed to the good property groups. But Manhattan, the city, has like one of the best programs that we've seen as far as listing those inspections. So we could just pull that data right onto the site. Yeah.
Any further questions for the speaker, Intern Coordinator Colburn?
So it's different everywhere based on the size of the market. So the revenue it would generate for you, student government, would be between $10,000 and $50,000 per year. So it's not the biggest amount ever, but it's enough that you can fund scholarships for students. A lot of schools want to do like housing for homeless students. So it's kind of cool, the things that you can put that revenue towards.
Granted.
And then for a property company to get listed on the site, what does that cost look like for you?
So it's all over the board. Basically, we want to get the mom and pop shops on with like one house. So right now, a lot of the students get directed to just the big apartment buildings or the huge rental companies. We want to get everyone. So it's a scaling price package. So it can go from $5 a month up to $250 a month for the bigger apartment buildings. Yeah.
Any further questions? Senator Oxnard.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question regarding, so you said that these are listed upon inspection, correct?
No, I wish. So, inspecting all of the properties is not even scalable for the city.
Time.
So,
Time for questions has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Senator Kelly? It's been moved and seconded. We extend the time for questions by 5 minutes. Are there any objections? You have 5 more minutes.
so there's not really a great way to do it. We've tried in a lot of markets around the country. Student government has tried in 30 markets that I know of, and it's never possible. It's just going through every property is tough. So the best we can do is a badge program for the properties that have done those inspections. So does that answer your question? Is that good? Yeah.
What I was referring to, if they were inspected with the city, do you guys just have to ask for that?
So we would pull that data directly from the city site. So we can do that in Manhattan. That's the good part, is that the Manhattan, the city is willing to work with us on that. I met with them today.
Are there any further questions for the speaker? Director Heisey?
Two parts. First, who maintains the integrity of the system so that you ensure that code violations are updated regularly? And what stops a student group from submarinating a property?
So we maintain that information. So the whole site's maintained through our company. So one way is there's an admin panel where we can automatically pull the data from landlord websites. From the city, we could build a tool to do the same thing. So meaning we could have basically a spider that crawls their site to see which properties are up to code and which are not. That's something we'd run regularly. And to start, we'd probably manually do it on a weekly basis. But properties, staying up to date is a huge issue. So that's something that we, are constantly working on.
And how do you stop?
Follow up?
Well, I asked it originally, but he didn't respond.
Okay. Follow up.
How do you stop student groups or collectives from submarinating property groups?
Meaning like they go into a property group and just so that's always the risk with reviews. That's the tough part. So at a lot of universities, we take away the comment section to start, but we make students log in with their net ID, and usually that gives enough accountability that they're not going to go out there and just post random stuff. And we've never seen it really happen that way when they're using their net ID. On Google, for example, though, people do that all the time. And then the property groups hire companies to post a bunch of fake reviews also. So the integrity of Google goes, way down, and that's the issue with Google. And we're in a position as the university to basically, create a system that can be trusted because we have these student IDs, for example.
Any further questions for the speaker? Chair Booz.
Thank you. You mentioned a lot having student IDs and requiring those to log in. Do you have to contract with the school to get what's a valid student ID?
Yeah, great question. So we use a system called Shibboleth, and that's what the university uses to connect with us. It's called an API. So we never touch that data. That's the other good part. We just integrate with the university system. So the other part of this is the university has to commit about an hour worth of time total to implement this entire project. Since there's no cost to the university, that also simplifies the entire contract a lot. So every portion of this is very easy to get done as soon as student government pretty much gets behind it. So the Texas Tech partnership, we agreed to it 3 weeks ago. It's already done and fully implemented. It launches on Monday, so to the entire market. That's probably the fastest we've ever moved, but it's pretty simple from that standpoint.
Granted.
So I noticed the premium marking on those
Yeah.
two home sites. How does the premium versus non-premium fit into your revenue?
So premium, they pay more to be at the top because they get a lot more attention. So for example, for those spots, they pay an additional $3,000 per year. So $250 a month. Yeah.
Any further questions for a speaker? Caucus Leader Kidd.
So you might have already mentioned this, which if you did, I apologize. But so students need to log in in order to put the reviews in.
Yeah.
But that student's data is not shown to other users, correct?
That's correct. Yep. You're welcome.
Any further questions for our speaker? Senator Coleman.
Hi, thank you for coming. So you talked about your three strike system. Could you tell us a bit more about how those strikes are?
So we'd build that with you all. So we rely on student government for the three strike system, for the badge system. So anything we do to police the market, we set that policy with you all. So we really need the students to be behind it before we can enforce it, which is a huge part of this partnership. We feel like if we don't have the student body backing us, it's tough to go to the landlords and enforce that. So at the University of Minnesota, where there's 47,000 users a year, and the landlords, if they're not on the site, they're not filling their units, they really care about being on the site. One landlord had a class action lawsuit against him, so he was removed from the site. One landlord had a lease where it was basically taking advantage of students, and student legal services had a huge problem with them. So they were eventually removed from the site as well.
Time for questions has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded that we extend the speaker's time for question by 5 minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you have 5 more minutes. Any further questions? Caucus Leader Burke.
Do you have any sense of what percentage of the housing market is currently accounted for in your listings?
Currently, I don't. I know at every university that we've partnered with. So Rent College Pads and the university site are two completely different things. The university site's a much more powerful platform than what Rent College Pads could ever do on its own. So in year one of every partnership that we've ever done, there's been at least 70% of the off-campus market that is listed with us. By year two, it's over 90% at every school ever. So, a lot of property groups will say they would never be a part of it. But the site becomes pretty powerful, meaning enough students use it that they feel they have to adapt to the platform. So within a 2-year time frame, it's above 90.
Any further questions for the speaker? Director Bruner.
Hi, is there a part of your website that talks about how safe the house is, like locking and unlocking doors, or how safe the neighborhood is, especially for students walking past?
So in some markets, we can do crime mapping. That's really dependent on the city again. But a huge part of what we do is try to teach students like good practices for things like that. So we are launching an entire educational series for students. So basically on the landing page of the site, which I'll show you Texas Tech because yours is not done yet, there will be a section in here where basically you'll go through a course. So you'll have the option to go through a course, and it'll teach students how to sign leases, what to watch out for in leases, what to look for when you're renting an apartment, what to do when you move in, move out of an apartment, things like that. And then if you pass a short test at the end, you're a certified renter and you would get a deal on your rent. So that's something we're rolling out nationwide. The goal is to get 10% of our users at every campus to go through it. So we're hoping for 200,000 users in the first year.
Any further questions for the speaker? Chief of Staff Polson.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about the roommates tab and how successful that has been?
Yeah, for sure. So it's not built out yet, but at some universities, so it'll look like this. Basically, students fill out this form, and this is how you would kind of pick the roommates that you would live with. We can also customize this. It's different in a lot of different markets. But basically, it's widely used. So a big issue currently is that students want to live with other K-State students, for example. So on this platform, it's nothing but K-State students. If you're looking for a roommate, your information's just not out there on Facebook, for example. It's just other people looking for roommates. Some markets have like 30,000 postings in this. It's also good for the situation where your roommate has to move out because they have to study abroad, or who knows what happens, they have to leave at semester. You can post in here to find another roommate for your apartment. The reason why that's a big deal is because you could get stuck with their rent. For example, some of the houses that rent don't go by the bed. It's by the unit renting. So if a roommate moves out or can't pay rent, you're on the hook for that rent.
Any further questions? Caucus Leader Speltman.
Thank you for coming. My question is focusing on the safety of houses. Last year, we had a town hall, we brought in 3 city commissioners and discussed affordable and safe housing in the area.
Sure.
I'm wondering what the conversation was when you did talk to the city commissioners, if there was anything like that brought up.
Yeah, there was. That was the whole time. So basically, mandatory inspections will be very tough because it'll just be tough to pass that. So the way to do it is by making a website that's so powerful for the property groups that they have to kind of play by the rules a little bit of the platform we've created. So the goal would be to do this badge system, like a student government badge. If they did get these inspections done, they would get that badge that would say this is like a preferred property, for example. So then that would kind of put pressure on everyone who does not have those inspections to go do the inspection. So I think just making a kind of organic push to get everyone to do it would work out well. We've done that in other markets, like Marquette University, the first university we ever partnered with. We did the MUSG badge, it was called there, and it was super successful. So once a few property groups did it, the rest kind of came on board after that because they felt the pressure, to keep up with the competition.
Granted.
So, I guess going on like staying up to code, because I don't know a whole lot of detail on this part, but within states to states, there's a little bit of variation between what they consider being up to code versus not.
Sure.
Is there a standard that Rent College Pads holds to?
There's not. That's tough because every state is different. And, in a perfect world, we would do all the inspections. It's just it's impossible. We've tried it. There's hundreds and thousands of different units in the market. And, so it's just tough to get into all those units and to know what the code is. So even for the city, it's a really, really tough task to do. And I think, their concern was even that they may not have enough resources to go do inspections for everyone, for example.
Are there any further questions? Time for questions has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Caucus Leader Glasscock. It's been moved and seconded to extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes. Are there any objections? Okay, you have 10 more minutes.
Great.
Oh, Senator Carlson.
I have two questions. So the first one is, how would this site work with the Rent College Pad site? Like, would they both be active at the same time if we were to start this? And then, what's like the timeline that you're kind of looking at for launching this?
So Rent College Pads would still be alive as a side brand, but it wouldn't compete. So we'd basically move all those resources to the university site. We just can't kill off the Rent College Pads site because there's active contracts. But yeah, the main focus would then be pushing the university platform. So that includes, which I didn't mention, we do like an advertising budget. So when we launch it out, we put $20,000 as a minimum digital spend behind the university site. And that's on Facebook, Instagram. We'll do a commercial here on campus, just letting students know that this tool exists. So it's all about getting student engagement on that new platform. The goal right now that we've kind of set would to launch by next fall semester. So we would spend the summer basically putting it together and getting the property groups on board with it. Students tend to search in September, October, and November for the next school year. So that's why it's important to launch by next fall to kind of get the entire cycle on the platform. Yeah.
Any further questions? Senator Al Abdullah.
My question to you is, by partnering with this GA, that's mean you are putting your company name with the university name, and that's really the whole issue here.
Yeah.
How are you gonna, like, when students take the property, that's mean they're gonna hold it accountable by university name because SGA is related to the university. So when there's something happen, how are you gonna take that accountable for us?
Can you stick to just a question?
I got your question. I got it. That's an incredibly good question because I think every university we have ever partnered with has brought that up. So every university is worried that we are going to endorse properties and that a student will get hurt or something bad will happen to them, and then they'll blame it on the university for connecting them with that property. That's the question. And in 6 years, it's never happened before, and 2 million students using us a year to find an apartment. And the reason is we make it very clear it's an unbiased marketplace. So Some universities want us to put a disclaimer at the very top of the site, and we can make it as big as they want it to be. And it will say something like, the university does not endorse any of these properties, nor does it run this website. And students just know it's a marketplace similar to cars.com, Amazon, anything like that. So we say it, so like off-campus housing marketplace right at the top. So the whole point is to really show them this is not university housing. It's not endorsed by the university. It's just a tool to help connect students. Does that answer it? It's a tough question to answer, but
Yep, follow up.
I think like my issue here, because I had this issue last year with other school and the same thing.
Sure.
I think
What's
my point is here. That's how you're gonna hold accountable for both sides, and we do not take responsibility if there's something like.
yeah, it's just we have to make it as clear as possible that the university does not endorse any of the properties. That's it. So, the university isn't liable for someone, renting an apartment from the website. It's just every option in the market's on there. The same way if you get in a car accident after finding your car on cars.com, or Amazon, for example, it's the individual owners that are liable for that. But even in our agreement with the university, we make it very clear that we take all the liability away from the university. So we hold the university harmless in that situation as well. But yeah, as a company, no one's ever been confused that it was or was not university housing.
any further questions? Senator Prus?
106. Yeah.
Any further questions? Caucus Leader Kidd.
Thank you again for coming tonight. Forgot to send in my first question. Sorry. Going back to the roommates thing, can you go back to that tab, the fourth one?
Yep.
That works too. So for like using that roommate feature, is there any option to the student user to be able to like upvote or downvote of roommates, or like is that an option?
No, it's not currently.
Okay. Follows this question.
Granted.
Okay, so avoiding a hypothetical, but has your company thought about enabling that feature to let students provide anonymous feedback on their roommate experiences with other students, whether it be a good or bad outcome or anything like that?
I've heard that before. It's just, I think that would be, being the university site, I think that would be a little tough to get in the middle of roommate disputes. So we just have never done it for that reason, I guess.
Granted.
And then my bonus question is, under what circumstances would your company side, under what circumstances would a student be banned from access to the system, or would that, can that happen, or people?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. So yeah, I have never heard of a situation where a student's done anything wrong yet in the platform. It's and again, maybe because there's accountability with you having to log in, to it. So scams don't exist, for example, on our platform like they may on other platforms, just because there's accountability behind it.
Further questions? Caucus Leader Spellman.
So kind of following up on the previous couple of questions. What if I was in a bad roommate situation a couple years ago?
Sure.
And if I were to say create an account who I was looking for a roommate, would it be possible to like block other users on a roommate situation?
No, not currently.
Further questions? Senator Kelly.
Thank you again for being here with us this evening. I know it's a lot of questions, but we appreciate it.
No, it's good.
I kind of want to hit this liability thread again really quick. So the university last year, K-State, we kind of made this move from dissociating ourselves from like off-campus entities, right? So that independent student organizations kind of couldn't use the K-State brand. So when I think of this, I think of this like feasibly. It sounds difficult to me. So my question is, have you had this conversation with general counsel, like our K-State legal?
Now with K-State, the good news is, and I guess I don't know the legalities as well as like our attorneys would, for example, but Almost every major university in the entire country has this platform or their own platform. So meaning they've vetted the system really, really thoroughly. From Ohio State to the University of Minnesota to just almost every campus now in the country. So Kansas State is one of the few schools to not have it anymore, and Kansas. So yeah, I don't know. That's the main point, is that it's been tested many times before, and it's a valid concern. I mean, what you're asking is the biggest concern every university has. I mean, they don't want to be responsible for placing students in bad properties. So, but if K-State Legal came back and said, they're really concerned about it, we would just make the font bigger and bigger on the waiver on the site until they were happy with it. And that's usually how we settle that problem. Yeah.
Further questions? Senator Beasley.
Hi. So will there be any student employment by way of ambassadors or trying to will you be paying students to advertise?
We do, yeah. So we'll run like a bunch of different programs throughout the year. Yeah, so our marketing team does that. But also for student government throughout the year, we'd work with you all to set these policies and to we'd present to you kind of like the numbers at the end of the year, quarterly, whatever you would prefer. And we can do things like, present to student government how many students, faculty, and staff use the site, parents use the site. We can look at the handicap filter, how many students look for wheelchair accessible properties, things like that. So we try to keep student government really involved, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in the entire process.
Granted.
And what if, I'm sure this hasn't happened yet, but should K-State be dissatisfied with this program, how actionable is this?
That's a hypothetical.
There's the university requires that if we misuse the brand for any reason, for example, they can get out of the agreement, or if there's any major like breach in data or anything like that. So there's protective provisions basically in the agreement for the university to enter into it. So what we are proposing right now to you all is that you basically duplicate the exact Texas Tech contract that we put in place with Texas Tech. So, and it's, very vetted already and negotiated, and it has all of that stuff in it.
Time.
Time for questions has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Chair Booz. It's been moved and seconded to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes. Are there any objections? Okay, so we'll go ahead and do a hand vote then, since we have an objection. Go ahead and raise your right hand if you'd like. Both hands if you have a proxy, but go ahead and raise your hand if you want to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes. Opposed, same sign. Okay, 7 to 35. Time for question. Motion fails. So thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you all. And I'll make sure you all have my contact info and my team's contact info as well. So if you have more questions, you can just reach out via email. But yeah, thank you again. I'm super excited for this. I hope we can do it. I know it would help. I don't think there's many things that student government could do that would help this many students in this big of a way. So thanks.
Okay, we'll now move into approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Caucus Leader Glasscock? It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Are there any objections? Minutes are approved. We'll now move into announcements. First, senators tonight will learn which committee they're serving on following the meeting. Following the end of the meeting, we request that you stay to meet with your committee briefly to learn who else is on your committee and to set goals for the next term. Second, the Vice President for Student Life and Dean of Students Search Committee would like to extend an invitation to SGA to attend a student organization reception with the candidates that are visiting campus between April 29th and May 3rd. This is a critical opportunity for us to interact with the candidates and provide feedback before the position is selected. These will be taking place on Monday, April 29th, Tuesday, April 30th, and Thursday, May 2nd, all of those dates from 1 to 2:30 p.m. in the K-State Alumni Center banquet room. Third, the SGA reunion will be taking place 4 to 6 on Saturday, May 11th in JP's in the Union. As current members, you all are invited to attend. There is a registration fee of $10 per guest. If you plan to attend, please register as soon as possible. The link was sent out with the agenda last night. Proxies, we have Koger for Meinhardt, Lux for Kavanaugh, Oxner for Hines, Orzakowski for Payton, Rice for Betancourt. The quote of the week is, that's a tough one. I'd have to say April 25th because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. Cheryl Fraser, Miss Congeniality. Okay, we'll now move into commendations. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 8? Chair Booz. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 8. Will the author please come forward?
Resolution 1928, Commendation to Kemi Carr Academic Competition Team by Sydney Clements and Matthew Orzakowski. Whereas the Kansas State University Kemi Carr Academic Competition Team is a team of students who design and construct a vehicle powered by a chemical energy source that will safely carry a specified load a given distance and then stop. Whereas the chemical energy sources used for power can be homemade batteries, biological catalysts, pressure reactions, or thermodynamic reactions, among many others. Whereas the competition is not about having the fastest, biggest, or longest running car, but instead is to have the best control over your reaction in order to go exactly the specified distance. Whereas the KSU Kemi Carr team designed and created Wildcat Workout, a car that rests on a purple 3D printed chassis and utilizes an acid-base reaction between potassium carbonate and citric acid to power an artificial muscle that moves the vehicle forward. Whereas the reaction creates a carbon dioxide that builds up stored pressure for an Arduino-controlled solenoid to release in small bursts, causing the artificial muscle to contract and rotate the axle forward a small amount. Whereas the car continues moving forward with each pulse of the solenoid and artificial muscle until the reaction is out of pressure and its workout comes to an end. Whereas Wildcat Workout was made possible by the hard work of team leads Dean Bennett and Joseph Hewitt and members Jack Gerald, David Alex Ortiz, Rachel Berland, and Dina Clark. Whereas the KSU Kemi Carr team competed in the 2019 Mid-America Regional A-Key Conference competition hosted by Missouri S&T on April 13th, 2019 in Rolla, Missouri. Whereas at this competition, there were 14 cars registered from across the state of Kansas, Iowa, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, and Nebraska. Whereas Wildcat Workout was the winning car in this competition, coming within a meter of the target distance of 17 feet. Whereas KSU Kemi Carr team says as far as they know, theirs is the first use of an artificial muscle in a competition car, and whereas this victory will allow the team to travel to the national competition in Florida in November of this year. Be it resolved that, Section 1, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association commends the members of the Kemi Carr Academic Competition Team for their successful year and congratulates them for winning the 2019 Mid-America Regional A-Key Conference competition. Section 2, the KSU SGA wishes Kemi Carr good luck and continued success as they represent K-State at the national competition in November. That should be Section 3. Upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Kemi Carr advisors Dr. Keith Hone, Dr. Jennifer Anthony, and Dr. Andrew Duncan. Kemi Carr President Catherine Kellogg, Kemi Carr team leads Dean Bennett and Joseph Hewitt, Kemi Carr members Rachel Berland, Dina Clark, Jack Gerald, David Alex Ortiz, Dean of Engineering Dr. Darren Dawson, and University President Richard B. Myers.
We got that correction for Section 3. Are there any questions for the author? Okay, is there a motion? Senator Grover. It's been moved and seconded. We approve this resolution unanimously. Are there any objections? Resolution 8 is approved. We'll now move into approval of appointments. Is there a motion to consider Resolution 9? Caucus Leader Spelman. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 9. Will the author please come forward?
All right. Resolution 1920-09 by Nathan Bothwell, Emily Dedeville, Peter Moyer, and Elizabeth Wiesner. Whereas it is necessary to approve the Deputy Attorney General, Chancellor of the Student Tribunal, Justice of the Student Tribunal, Justice of the Student Review Board, and Justice of the Parking Appeals Committee. Whereas these positions were sufficiently advertised, whereas applications were made available to all students who showed interest in the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, whereas there were 19 applicants for these positions, and whereas students can be appointed to the Student Review Board and the Parking Citations Appeals Board simultaneously. Whereas the following individuals have been selected by the student body president in consultation with the Attorney General to serve on the basis of their leadership ability, experience, and dedication to serving the Kansas State University student body throughout the next term. Whereas this appointment is subject to the approval by Student Senate. All right, the following individual has been selected to serve as Deputy Attorney General for the 2019-2020 term. Ashton Hess. The following individual has been selected to serve as Chancellor for the 2019-2020 term. Annalie Hobbs. The following individual has been approved to serve as the Chair of the Student Review Board for the 2019-2020 term. Caitlin Struckel. And for Student Review Board, Madeline Ames, William Erickson, Student Tribunal, there we go. Madeline Ames, William Erickson, Nicholas Keckley, Lily Schlitz, Zachary Terrell, Fred Schuler, and Nicholas McCrate. For Student Review Board, Adam Bendrick, Emily Featherston, Jackson Moore, Grace Palsick, Lala Schroeder, Corey Sidek, and Grace Wheeler. The following individuals for parking are Matthew Swords, Adam Bendrick, Grace Wheeler, Aaron Stewart, and Emily Featherston. And there's one correction, Grace Wheeler should be under Student Review Board.
Are there any questions for the author? Seeing none, is there a motion on this resolution? Caucus Leader Spelman. It's been moved and seconded to approve this resolution unanimously. Are there any objections? Resolution 9 is approved. Will all the judicial members this evening go ahead and come forward to get sworn in?
All right, so at the end of this, just say, is it I will? I do, sure. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully uphold the office of KSU Judicial and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Kansas State University Student Governing Association. All right, so go ahead and introduce yourself, name, hometown, major, and favorite smell.
All right, I'm Jackson Moore. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. I am a political communications major, and my favorite smell is coffee grounds.
Hi guys, my name is Lala Schroeder. I'm from Bronx, New York. I am a double major in animal science and also philosophy for pre-law. What was the other question? Freshly fried plantanas. Can't beat that.
My name is Zach Terrell. I'm from Leawood, Kansas. I'm double majoring in computer science and history, and my favorite smell is caramel.
My name is Madeline Ames. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. I am a double major political science, pre-law philosophy with a minor for communication studies. And my favorite smell is beer at a baseball game. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but there we go.
Hi, I'm Annalie Hobbs. I'm majoring in marketing and economics, and I'm from Overland Park, Kansas. My favorite smell is those little snap fireworks, and you just throw them on the ground. They go poof, and they smell good. So,
I'm Matthew Swords. I'm from Gardner, Kansas. I'm a freshman majoring in accounting, and my favorite smell is Annie Ann's pretzels.
My name is Grace Palsick. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. I'm majoring in philosophy and political science, and my favorite smell is after you burn out a candle.
Hi, my name is Ashton Hess. I'm from Lenexa, Kansas. I'm majoring in geography and history, and my favorite smell is a campfire.
Well, she just stole my favorite smell, so we'll go with that one first. My name is Caitlin Struckle, and I am from Olathe, Kansas, and I am majoring in biology for pre-physical therapy. And
My name is Adam Bendrick. I'm dual majoring in Spanish and civil engineering. I'm from Kansas City, and my favorite smell is fresh cinnamon rolls.
I'm Grace Wheeler. I'm from Prairie Village, Kansas. I'm majoring in relational communication studies, and my favorite smell is like new tennis balls.
Hi, my name is Nicholas McCray. I'm from Spring Hill, Kansas. I'm double majoring in business and political science, and my favorite smell is cut grass.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Keckley. I'm also from Spring Hill, Kansas. I'm dual majoring in chemical engineering and political science, and I like the smell of cinnamon.
I'm William Erickson. I'm from Manhattan, Kansas, majoring in chemical engineering, and there's nothing better than the smell of a new car.
My name is Lily Schlitz, and I'm majoring in political science and pre-law. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and my favorite smell is, oh goodness, I don't know, rain.
My name is Corey Sytek. I'm from Olathe, Kansas. I'm studying microbiology. My favorite smell is pine.
My name is Fred Schuler, majoring in political science, and my hometown is Rossville, Kansas, and my favorite smell is barbecue.
All right, is there a motion to consider Resolution 10? Senator Grover. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 10. Will the author please come forward?
Okay, Resolution 19-2010, approval of new student senators by Andrew Bruce. Whereas Lily Colburn and Julia Howie have chosen to resign from the positions of student senator for the College of Arts and Sciences, and whereas Hannah Cogshall and Bailey Clark have the next highest vote totals for the College of Arts and Sciences, be it resolved that the following individuals be approved as student senators for their respective colleges: Hannah Cogshall, College of Arts and Sciences, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that her last name incorrectly, and Bailey Clark, College of Arts and Sciences.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Seeing none, is there a motion on this resolution? Senator Coltman. It's been moved and seconded. We approve Resolution 10 unanimously. Are there any objections? Okay, Resolution 10 is approved. Hannah is gone this evening, but Bailey, if you'll go ahead and come forward and we'll get you sworn in. You go that way. Okay, yep, right hand up. I do at the end. Okay. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of student senator and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Okay.
I'm Bailey Clark. I'm from McKinney, Texas, and my major is political science. I'm a junior, and my favorite smell is gasoline at the gas station.
Lastly, for approval of appointments, if you are in a director position but have not been sworn in yet, please go ahead and come down.
Okay. Raise your right hand and say "I do" after I read this statement. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of cabinet and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association. Awesome. Okay, so now say your name, major, hometown, and favorite smell.
My name is CJ Steiner. I'm a junior studying mechanical engineering with minor in computer science. I'm from McPherson, Kansas, and I'm going to be the technology director. And my favorite smell is definitely funnel cakes at a carnival.
My name is Ayana Belk. I'm a sophomore in landscape architecture. I'll be the director for Campus Unity. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and my favorite smell is brownies.
Okay, we'll now move into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs that would like to give a report? Seeing none, any directors' reports? Former Deputy Attorney General? Does she need speaking rights? Oh, okay. Come on down. Deputy Attorney General Dittibo.
Okay, hi guys. So I'm the previous Deputy Attorney General from this last term, and part of my job is to give you guys like a state of the judicial branch for the last term. So that's what I'm going to do. So the cases that we've heard in this last year, so Parking Citation Appeal Board has heard 723 appeals. So that's every time someone gets a parking ticket and decides they want to fight that. So 723 of those. Conduct cases, so we have a code of conduct that everyone is held to. We had 47 conduct cases. The most common conduct code that was broken was the alcohol policy. The second most common was non-compliance, so not complying with the sanction from the first hearing. Tribunal had 3 hearings and 1 interpretation. So for you guys to know, like if you are confused about what anything in like the bylaws means, either the president or the speaker, or you guys can make a petition to have that officially interpreted by tribunal. And so we had one about voting rules in Priv Fee this past term. We also did a lot of work on our outreach. We had presentations with the SGA interns and did some mock hearings with them, kind of showing them how we go about doing that. We attempted some outreach with Greek housing, but PHC and IFC were not very responsive, so we're hoping to do better with that in the next term. We were able to double our followers on Instagram, so that's pretty fun. We participated in SGA Week panels with other SGA leadership. We created bulletin boards about the code of conduct for 12 residence halls. We were able to work with the residence hall manager, Bree Hardy, to create a short statement that RAs are going to give to dorm residents at the beginning of each semester starting next year, letting them know what the code of conduct is. And then we updated legislation. We reformed the elections hearings process to include an elections board, meaning more than one person is now hearing the cases of elections violations. We updated the Deputy Attorney General's duties to include participation on the elections board. We updated an inconsistency in the bylaws about selection of the next Attorney General. Additionally, the judicial branch worked with the elections commissioner to start work on updating the elections rules. So we worked on what to do in the case of a disqualification. We worked on social media policy and general terminology updates. And then lastly, we had 2 speakers that came in. We had the previous chair of Senate Operations, Shelby Carpenter, came in and talked to us about how to update legislation and make sure we were doing that correctly. And then we had Dr. Chaz Maley, who came in and talked to us about alcohol and drug education. So he's someone that we send students to, usually on a first-time drug case, a second-time alcohol, or a severe first-time alcohol case. And he was able to give us some information about what indicates concerning behavior from students. And this term, we sent 23 students to him. And that's all I have.
Are there any questions for Deputy Attorney General Dittibo? Seeing none, are there any further director's reports? President Penny.
Hey guys, so just a few things for you today. So Senate leadership, SGA leadership actually had some pretty good meetings this week with the K-State Foundation, and it wasn't really meant to be for the issues with McCain and the student concerns there, but it kind of lined up perfectly to kind of start to have those conversations. So a lot of issues that we brought up on Monday with the foundation is first kind of getting an update from them, and then talking a lot more about what the student voice looks like in the foundation and in some of those projects and programs that their donors raise money for. So after that conversation, and after I sat down with the president, Greg Willems, we've kind of put forward two different possible options and hopefully a two-pronged approach on how we can allow more student voice in that. One of those being going and speaking at their all-staff meetings, which happen every month at the foundation. So Ollie and I went and we met with Student Foundation exec last night with what a partnership would look like there about speaking to their staff and giving them a little bit more of that about that student view of what's happening on campus and student concerns there. And the other approach is we really analyzed how these projects start. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, and a lot of these projects the idea is originated from the donors, and then it goes through the foundation to the university. But really, the vast majority of these start with deans and department heads around campus who bring this grand idea for a $15 million renovation to the provost and then to the president's cabinet. And once it's there, it's directed to the foundation. So we have talked about where can we as students have a little bit of vetting in that process and provide some input. So in our meeting with Provost Tabor this week, one of the areas we targeted was him bringing some of us in to kind of bring in some of our possible concerns and questions when he does get those project proposals, either before or after they go to the president's cabinet. And that's not a way for us to weigh this project versus other needs that we see on campus, but it's a great way for us to bring up some possible questions and concerns to them so that we don't have similar situations like we're having happening with McCain now. So we'll probably start a task force on that with next year and help ourselves bring a voice in, as well as working with STUPO and looking at those staff meetings. So a lot of student voice input there with the foundation. Another thing, you guys should have been getting a lot of emails on this with the new search for the Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students. We have a really great opportunity next week to have a voice in that and to have a lot of interaction with the candidates. So Sadie let us know that they will be releasing all those names tomorrow, so we don't know who they are yet, but on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and it's in the agenda, the time and place, that is a great opportunity for us students to come, interact, and ask questions there, because they are going to play an integral role in student success in the university. And then lastly, when we're looking at tuition for next semester, a lot of things are still up in the air, and a lot of that has to do with the higher ed funding budget. So Ollie, myself, and our legislative director, PJ, are going to head along with Jordan Lacey, Miranda, Faith, I think, to Topeka next Thursday to advocate for $50 million for that higher ed funding. So based on what happens there in the legislature is where our tuition rates will be set. If we get a very large number, but tuition's only going to go up a little bit, and then as logic makes sense, the less they give us, the more tuition goes up. And I'll have a more definite number on what the privilege fee is going to look like next week during my report. But that's it. Do you guys have any questions? Anything with the foundation, tuition, the search for a new VP?
Any questions for President Penny? Caucus Leader Kidd.
Can I refer that to you, Sadie?
It's July 1st. Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll now move into final action. Will the author of Bill 1 please come forward? Have any changes been made?
No.
All right, first right to debate.
Yeah, so I won't get into the entire spiel like I did last week, but so what this is, how we collect privilege fees, it is an estimation of what we need to raise in revenue for the next year. If we don't raise that amount in revenue based on not enough enrollment or bad debt, then that is when we have to pull from our reserves to make sure we are in the black on this. And so that is what the $175,000 estimated is going to do, is put us in the black on that line item for privilege fee. And along with privilege fee, to make sure this type of situation doesn't happen again, they're being a lot more analytical on looking at the potential drop in enrollment next year and what that number is going to be, so that we can hit a lot closer to that mark. Because just like us, they do not want to see us having to keep on pulling from reserves, because our reserve account is not endless, and so we cannot keep on going through this process. And so that, like I mentioned last week, is why you might see a higher increase in privilege fee, so that we don't have to put through legislation like this. And then I'll also point out line 17, our current balance on that is $842,000. And so yeah, it is going to affect it, pulling at 175, but we do still have a ample leftover amount in there. But I'd love to answer any questions on this piece of legislation.
Are there any questions? Senator Hamlin.
Yep, there's $842,000 currently in that account, and then that'll drop once we pull that $175,000. And the reason that we don't have a definite number down to the cents of the money to pull is because they're still collecting some of those payments from this semester, but that is their estimated of what we are going to fall short on. And so let's say they estimate a lot too high and we're only $100,000 in the hole. They will take that $100,000, clear out the account, and then that $75,000 would stay. So that all kind of gets swept back into SGA, so we don't have any risk there.
Any further questions? Senator Koger.
So are you, like next year, would you expect, if we did not up the privilege fee, another $170,000 roughly deficit, or would you expect to be more or less?
Yeah, and so the past 3 years, we have expected a 3% enrollment decline, and so that's a 3%, pretty much a 3% increase that we put onto tuition because we're expecting less students to pay it. And so this next year, I think the number is about 4.37 is what we are going to anticipate an enrollment decline. So that will in turn have a higher jump on that privilege fee, which is looking at about $472, although $472 per semester, but that's not confirmed.
Granted.
Right now isn't it 440?
It's 444. Yep.
So that'd be at $28.
Yes, is that correct? Yeah.
So if
Do you have a follow-up?
If there's roughly 20,000 students and $28 increase per student, that would be a $1.1 million like accrual of revenue increase. Why would we need that for $470,000?
Yeah, and part of that, I will come back with a lot more concrete numbers, probably next week or the week after. But part of that is too. Last year we allocated a perpetual 5% increase to counseling services for the next 3 years. So that's compounded on top of each other, and so that is an added expense that we're having. Another added expense is that we just increased the union $50,000 as well. And I know that doesn't add up to your over $1 million, but I will bring all those numbers for you and break that out.
Time for questions has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Seeing none. Is there any debate in the negative? Any debate at all? Okay, we'll now move into a roll call vote.
Al Abdullah. Yes. Al Madani. Yes or no?
You're
please.
voting on
Or
Bill
abstain.
1, which is yes or no. Thank you.
Beasley. Betancourt. Booz. Burke. Carlson. Clements. Colburn. Cruz. Dowd. Garcia. Jillian King. Gillespie. Glasscock. Gertson. Oh, nope, sorry. Grover. Hamlin. Hines. Huffman. Jabin. Kavanaugh. Kelly. Kerperin. Kidd. King. Koger. Coleman. Leverett. Lux. Matos. Bryson. Meinhardt. Switch that around. Newport. Oshner. Orzakowski. Pelton. Penny. Whoops. Pruss. Rice. Rivera. Reichert. Schleider. Smith. Snyder Ben. Snyder Blaine. Spellman. Spencer. Stone Street. Wallace. Ward. Watkins. Nope, not today. All right. Whitmer. Aye. 43 yeses, 0 no's. Really? Shit. This has not been must. On the attendance I do, but I don't think I did this one.
Okay, go ahead and be quiet while we write this down. You can raise your hand, and if you did not get a vote, you just weren't on the original ballot and it hasn't been updated. Okay. So let's go Peyton. Clark. Rodriguez. Boykin. Phillips.
48 yeses, 0 no's.
Okay, Bill 1 passes 48-0. We'll now move into second open period. Caucus Leader Spellman. there any further second open period speakers? Chief of Staff Polson.
I cannot express how badly you all need to attend the BPSL candidate open forums. It is so important that we have input from everyone on this position because we all work so closely with that person. So if you have any questions about what that'll look like or what, I don't know, like what to wear, let me know.
When is that? Where is that? What are we doing?
Yes. Yeah, so candidates will be on campus Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday of next week. It'll be from 1 to 2:30 in the Alumni Center ballroom. And we're students, so we can wear what we want, but try not to look like you just roll out of bed.
Any further second open period speakers or question? Senator Cruz.
I was not chancellor.
So you can, but if you do, you need to go to the front desk and get a parking pass. No parking pass equals parking tickets that you can appeal to the.
Okay, any further questions for Chief of Staff Polson?
So important, go.
Okay, any further second open period speakers? Okay.
Hi guys, I'm Sierra Stats. Some of you may know me because I did the intern program throughout this year. So all the new interns definitely may have seen my face. But I'm here actually to represent Engineers Without Borders, which is within the College of Engineering. And I'm just passing out, or my friend Blake is just passing out some flyers because we're doing a Chipotle fundraiser this Sunday between 4 and 8. So if you could come and bring all your friends and just say you're there to support Engineers Without Borders and eat a meal and have fun, that'd really help us support our project right now, because our goal is this August, we want to implement a retaining wall in a small village in Guatemala to stop the erosion that's really affecting that area. And it might like damage their school in the future. So we're really trying to get that implemented as soon as possible. But in order for that to happen, we need to have fundraising so we can do that. So if you would like to support us, come to Chipotle this Sunday, anytime after 4. So thank you.
Any further open period speakers? Chair Booz.
Okay, so I'm just going to be talking really quickly about Senate Operations Committee. So as you noticed, I've already been working on filling some vacancies. So if you know that there are vacancies in your college and I'm not doing anything about them, please let me know. I believe all colleges except AP Design hasn't been sworn in, and then like our Arts and Sciences are going to be sworn in next week, and then grad school and faculty representatives aren't full right now. So if that's wrong, please let me know. Second thing is, one of my goals this year is to have people, when writing like major legislation, like legislation that alters the bylaws or our constitution or something similar, to present to Senate Ops on like kind of what their intent is and like why, you know, their goals and all that, so that we know we can bounce like editing ideas off you, that sort of thing. So we will be having a meeting next Monday to do edits. I'm not sure when that'll be yet, but I can get that to you if you would like. And if you would like to come, please let me know, because I would love it. So does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions for Chair Booz? Seeing none, are there any further open period speakers? I do have one announcement. Following adjournment, you can go ahead and go to the room that's given on the card that was attached to your name tag, and we ask that you stay for like 20 to 30 minutes and just visit with your committee chair, see who else is on your committee, and be able to set a couple goals and get a preview of what you'll be doing this next year. It's very exciting. We'll go ahead and move into second roll call.
Al Abdullah. Al Madani. Beasley. Balina. Betancourt. Booz.
Burke. Carlson. Clement. Colburn. Colburn. Cruz. Dowd. Garcia. Gillian King. Gillespie. Glasscock. Gertson. Grover. Hamlin.
Stay quiet while we get through roll call. It'll make it go faster.
Hines. Howie. Huffman. Javin. Kavanaugh. Kelly. Kerperin. Kidd. King. Koger. Coleman. Coleman. Leverett. Lux. Matos. Meinhardt. Newport. Oshner. Orzakowski. Pelton. Pruss. Rice. Rivera. Reichert. Slider. Slichter. Sorry. Smith. Snyder Ben. Snyder Blaine. Spellman. Spencer. Stone Street. Wallace. Ward. Watkins. Here. Whitmer. Boykin. Peyton. Rodriguez. Phillips. 48 present. 6 excused. 6 absent.
Okay, we'll now move into adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Prus. Okay. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting until next Thursday, same time, same place. There's no objection. We are adjourned. One last thing, if your card says room 117, that's Nathan and I's office, so that's where you're at, so don't go wandering around.
You are? I am. Gary, you want to? I do. You know what I want to do? I want to do that, and then I want to watch The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride?
I want to watch The